Wten, Channel 10, is an ABC-affiliated television station licensed to Albany, New York, USA. Wten is owned by Richmond, Virginia-based Media General, and operates Fox affiliate WXXA-TV through joint sales and shared services agreements. The two outlets share studios in the Bishopsgate section of Albany. Wten's transmitter is located in Voorheesville, New York. WCDC-TV, Channel 19 in Adams, Massachusetts, operates as a full-time satellite of Wten. This station broadcasts from a transmitter on Mount Greylock, the highest peak in Massachusetts. WCDC-TV's signal covers the western half of Massachusetts, and portions of Vermont, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. History. Wten began broadcasting on October 14, 1953 as WROW-TV on UHF Channel 41 from a temporary transmitter in Herkimer, New York, limiting the signal to the immediate area. The station went to full power and installed a permanent antenna tower next to the studio a few months later. WROW-TV was founded by Hudson Valley Broadcasting Company, operating alongside WROW Radio. The two stations shared space inside a former retirement home for nuns on a farm dirt road in the town of North Greenbush near Troy. WROW-TV carried the Capital District CBS television network affiliation at its launch. Within their first year, the station was losing money, and on the verge of bankruptcy, prompted the company's management to sell the WROW stations. By November of 1954, Hudson Valley's shareholders sold its majority stake to a New York City-based syndicate group led by legendary radio broadcaster, author Lowell Thomas, and his manager, business partner Frank Smith, who also became president of the company upon completion of the sale. In the spring of 1956, the channel's call letters were changed to WCDA and a satellite station, WCDB, in nearby Hagaman, New York, was launched to reach areas where the main signal could not. The call letters were changed again to the current WTN in 1957 when the station moved to VHF Channel 10. Upon moving to the VHF band, the station's transmitter was moved to Vale Mills, approximately 35 miles west of the Capital District. The previous site in Herkimer was fell outside of the Federal Communications Commission 170-mile separation requirement for VHF high-band stations in the northeastern United States, and Wten's new Channel 10 signal was required to protect both WHEC-TV, WVET-TV in Rochester and WJAR-TV in Providence, Rhode Island. But the new transmitter proved inadequate for serving the Capital District proper. The FCC eventually allowed a waiver in 1963 which let Wten move its transmitter to Voorheesville, closer to Albany. In December 1957, Hudson Valley merged with Durham Broadcasting Enterprises, the owners of WTVD in Durham, North Carolina, to form Capital Cities Television Corporation with Wten as its flagship station. In 1966, Wten and WROW-FM moved to new facilities on Northern Boulevard in Albany, where Wten remains to this day. In 1967, the old studio in North Greenbush was burned down by a fire caused by arson, but the station's owner donated its old transmitter to WRPI Radio. On February 24, 1971, Capital Cities sold Wten to Pool Broadcasting, following its purchase of several broadcast properties from Triangle Publications. Capital Cities had to sell off 2 VHF stations to stay within the FCC's limit of 5 per owner. In 1978, Pool sold Wten and sister stations WJRT-TV in Flint, Michigan, and WPRI-TV in Providence to Knight Ridder. The new owner signed an affiliation deal with ABC, which resulted in Wten swapping affiliations with WOST on October 23, 1977. Upon Knight Ridder's exit from broadcasting in 1989, Wten and sister station WKRN-TV in Nashville were sold to Young Broadcasting. Since the Young purchases of the two stations plus Wten satellite WCDC were made through two separate deals, they were consummated more than 3 months apart. Wten signed on its digital signal on UHF Channel 26 in 2004 and began offering high-definition service right from the start. This can also be seen on Time Warner Digital Channel 1810. On October 1, 2007, Young Broadcasting launched the Retro Television Network on a new third digital sub-channel of Wten. This was a part of a test of the network with sister stations WBAY-TV in Green Bay and Cron-TV in San Francisco. In an effort to cut costs, the company eliminated 10 positions from Wten on January 31, 2008, fueling speculations that the company might sell the station in order to pay down its financial debt. In January 2009, after failing to meet the minimum standards for being listed on NASDAQ, Young Broadcasting was dropped from the exchange. 1 month later, on February 13, they declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company planned to auction off its stations in a New York City bankruptcy court on July 14, 2009, but cancelled the auction last minute. RTV has been replaced by a 480i widescreen feed of ABC's Live Well network as part of a group deal with Young's other stations. On July 27, 2012, it was announced that the Capital District's Fox affiliate, WXXA-TV, would be sold from Newport Television to Shield Media, LLC for $19.2 million. That company will then enter into joint sales and shared services agreements with Young Broadcasting, resulting in Wten operating WXXA. On October 23, the FCC granted the transaction. After consummation of the sale, master control of the Fox outlet will likely move from WXXA's corporate Circle Studios to Wten's offices. The move was completed on March 23, 2013. On June 6, 2013, Young Broadcasting announced that it would merge with Media General. The merger was approved by the FCC on November 8. After Media General shareholders approved the merger a day earlier, it was completed on November 12. WCDB in the spring of 1956, satellite station WCDB on UHF Channel 29 in Hagamun was launched to reach areas where the main signal could not. This signed off in 1957 after WCDA moved its transmitter closer to Albany, making WCDB superfluous even though it did provide some primary CBS coverage to Utica. The WCDB call sign would return to the air in 1978 for the student-run radio station at University at Albany. WCDC began broadcasting on February 5, 1954 as WMGT on UHF Channel 74. This was a separate station affiliated with the Dumont network. The tower location on Mount Greylock helped WMGT serve first as the market's secondary affiliate of Dumont and later as a major boost to WCDA. In December 1954, WMGT moved to Channel 19, extending the station's range to the Capital District of New York State. In February 1956, it was forced off the air when a storm damaged its transmitter tower. Capital Cities bought the license and returned it to the air in 1957 under its current calls, WCDC. Since then, it has been a straight simulcast of WCDA, Wten. WCDC's digital signal on UHF Channel 36 signed on nearly 18 months before Wten's did. However, it did not upgrade to high definition until Wten-DT signed on. Digital television. Digital channels. The station's digital signal is multiplexed. WCDC does not carry WTEN's two sub-channels, but they are carried locally in Massachusetts on the digital tier of Time Warner Cable. Analog to digital conversion. WTEN shut down its analog signal over VHF Channel 10 on June 12, 2009. The official date in which full-power television stations in the United States transition from analog to digital broadcasts under federal mandate. The station's digital signal remained on its pre-transition UHF Channel 26. Through the use of PSIP, digital television receivers display the station's virtual channel as its former VHF analog Channel 10. Cable and satellite carriage. WTEN is carried on the following cable and satellite systems within the Albany, Schenectady, Troy market. News operation. For many years, WRGB was the dominant news station in the Capital District. In 1993, that station was quickly eclipsed by WNYT and for several years in the mid-1990s fell to third place. WTEN has stabilized at a steady second place for the most part, although for a period in the early 2000s, it fell back to third. WNYT overtook WTEN for the runner-up spot by the late 1980s, and in 1992, scored its first late news victory. At times during the 1990s and 2000s, this station has occasionally finished ahead of WRGB or, more recently, WNYT. The market remains very competitive today in terms of Nielsen ratings. In November 2009, WNYT's newscast slipped back to third place, largely resulting from its owner Hubbard Broadcasting deciding to terminate many of its popular news team members. One notable personality let go from the NBC affiliate was Lydia Kolbida, who was hired by WTEN in time to help launch the market's only over-the-air weekday local news show at 4. On October 26, 2011, WTEN became the second station in Albany to upgrade its newscast to high-definition level. As a full-time satellite of WTEN, WCDC currently simulcasts all newscasts from its parent outlet. Although there are no separate title openings or local cut-ins provided during the broadcasts, there is coverage of western Massachusetts and southwestern Vermont. Since 2001, rival WNYT has been the only Capital District-based television station to operate a bureau in western Massachusetts. With the consolidation of WXXA with WTEN, this ABC affiliate took over production of the Fox station's newscasts. The two stations' reporting staffs were merged immediately following the completion of Shield Media's purchase of WXXA. On January 24, 2013, the Fox outlet dropped its separate weeknight 5 and 11 o'clock newscasts. WXXA's weekday morning newscast and nightly primetime broadcast at 10 were retained, as this programming does not directly compete with local news airing on WTEN.